Not only is Hikari, well, extremely reckless, Hikari is a slugger. This implies that Hikari knows what to do against Mahito's attacks, and won't adhere to his traditional fighting style. Especially because, again, he's a gambler. He frequently dives directly into danger as part of his character. Never mind the fact that Hikari's critical thinking isn't exactly that far off. Never mind the fact that it is stated multiple times, even if the limb is chopped off, talking to people who can heal entire limbs, like Yuta Okotsu, as well as Yuki Tsukumo, his boogie woogie was still dead because again the shape of his soul was altered. It genuinely does not matter what Hikari does with his domain. Even if Hikari actually gets his domain off, not only does he not have the AP to exercise Mahito, not only can he not hit the soul, but he is running directly dick first into Mahito's preceding attacks. Never mind the fact that Mahito has some of the greatest technique recovery shown in the series. Directly after using his domain, for the first time, by the way, Itadori invades his domain, and his sure hit hits Sukuna, and Mahito's soul is hurt by Sukuna. The structure of his soul was damaged, and his domain broke. And here he is using his technique again right afterward. So more often than not, in the downtime in which Hikari can't use his domain, which is something Kashimo's already taken advantage of a number of times, with Mahito being perceptive and again a genius. Mahito would either domain expansion him anyway, or Hikari would literally run directly into his hands. So no, again, Hikari gets obliterated, especially because, again, first things foremost, if you pay attention to the fight with Itadori and Todo versus Mahito, you'll see clear as day that Mahito is not a fist fighter. Mahito is a maneuverer. He uses things like body repel and uses sheer numbers to outwit his opponents. If it just came to something like physical stats, we can agree that Itadori and Todo both have better physicals than Mahito. And yet Mahito still had to be jumped to an extreme diff victory. Which, going back to Kashimo, I want to destroy this narrative now. But Hikari beat Kashimo in a fight, therefore he's stronger. Yes, this formula usually works. However, you have to keep in mind that Hikari lost this fight. Not once, not twice, but almost 3 entire times. Again, luck-based victories do not count. Say for example, if you're on a video game and you're fighting somebody and you get a super bad ping spike because conveniently your power goes out and you disconnect from the match. If you lose, that's not a true loss. You weren't able to play by your best, or in this case, your opponent was favored by the odds. Now I understand Hikari's luck is canonical. But again, unless you're using black flashes for characters that aren't Itadori in the category of versus matches, this shouldn't be a factor. These are the exact same people who are going to say that Gojo is stronger than Sukuna without Maharaga, disregarding the fact that Gojo not only wouldn't be able to survive a Kami no Fuga, but they also have to account for the fact that black flashes are stated to be luck-based, and Gojo was given 3 and he still lost. So no, by either author statements or basic scaling, Hikari is not stronger than Kashimo, Yuta, Kusakabe, or Mahito. Especially Mahito and Yuta having ways to easily take advantage of Hikari's blindness. Which Hikari is again a gambling maniac. The moment he gets jackpot, which sometimes he doesn't even start his fights with jackpot, as seen with Itadori. He is a slugger. He's a run in and mess him up. He is not a tactical fighter like some people claim him to be. The closest thing to tactics we've seen from Hikari, are either the scene I just showed with his nose or this scene, which it either amounts to I'm gonna do it anyway, or I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. That's what makes Hikari's character fun. That's why people enjoy Hikari. You can enjoy Hikari You can like the character. I'm not saying it's a crime. I'm not saying it's a crime to like him like most other scalers would be like, oh, imagine liking a character so weak. Because Hikari's cool. But whenever I see him in a conversation with Yuta or Kusakabe, I cringe. There is a reason why Hikari is not a special grade sorcerer. Gojo said he had the potential to surpass him, and I see why. But the Hikari that we're talking about, you and me, the Hikari that we're talking about is not all that. He is not beating Mahito, and for a matter of fact, I know people are going to get pissed at me for saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway because it's the truth. There is no way you can stretch Hikari beating Jogo either. My apologies, Gangalang, but there is absolutely zero way Hikari is managing to beat Jogo for a multitude of very simple reasons. First things first, people have to stop underestimating lava manipulators because lava is the hottest thing on Earth for a reason. There's a reason why even characters like Ultimate Cars from JoJo's fear volcanoes. If Hikari cannot survive one of Kashimo's lightning strikes to a vital area, then Jogo most definitely is flying up and one-tapping him. Never mind the fact that you can make an argument for Hikari's domain time, but why would he trap himself in an enclosed space with the fastest of the disaster curses? Which, let's highlight that for a second. Jogo is most definitely the fastest out of the disaster curses. Never mind the statements from Jogo himself, which I do not care what kind of speed scaling you have for Hikari. Hikari is ending up the exact same way as the disaster, as the grade ones did when Jogo walked in there. The fact that he is being compared to the second fastest sorcerer is actually evil. Probably faster than Jogo is insanity. Never mind the fact that Jogo catches him slipping immediately after when he has one arm is diabolical. The only person he is outsped by is somebody else who would dog walk Hikari and Yuta being 15-finger Sukuna. I apologize to tell you, but Hikari has no means and no durability feats to suggest that if his side gets blown open by Urame's ice and his whole stomach gets blown open by Kashimo's lightning bolt, it takes a very basic understanding of geology and/or science to make even the smallest level interpretation that Jogo would immediately smoke Hikari. And to those saying, Nanami survived it. The attacks okay, let's take this into perspective. The two people that survived were Maki, who has an extreme physical constitution, Nanami, who has great durability compared to grade 1 sorcerers, and said when hitting him it feels like a wall. When the magma was used, Naobito died on contact. But the attacks that Jogo hit Nanami and Maki with were just teleport flame blast. No named attacks, just curse energy, barely even using his curse technique. Never mind the fact that Jogo is not above double tapping like he was going to double tap Geto's daughters. Let Hikari make a domain expansion sign, and he has to survive rolling for a jackpot with Jogo in there. Never mind the fact, again, magma, even if you don't want to take in the anime-only feats of Jogo making like 2 big magma hands and slamming buildings together, let's not also forget the fact that Jogo is not above cheesing his opponent in the fact that he can fly with his Ember Insects. But even if you want to say he can't, not only is Hikari not landing a single attack, he might not even get Jogo gone in the first couple strikes, especially with how many range options Jogo actually has. In fact, I would love for Hikari to do anything other than get no diff like he actually will. And the moment he opens his domain, because Kashimo says it himself. When Hikari's in jackpot, his stats increase, which that's nice. But I really see no way even with this stipulation, even if you want to consider Kashimo faster than Naobito, and let's highball Hikari and say he's faster he's faster than Naobito, fast as Kashimo, even though we both know that's not true. What is he going to do against Jogo's area control? There's actually nothing he can do in this situation, especially because his win con is getting close. And again, just touching lava can cost you a limb. So no, Hikari's not beating Jogo either. You can make whatever argument you want about Hanami and Dagon, especially Dagon. I can see Hikari, man. I can see Hikari managing to put down Hanami or Dagon, even though Nanami's ratio technique had like no effect against Dagon. But Shibuya Itadori was compared to Overtime Nanami, and that Hikari steamrolled Demon God Yuji. So we can say that Hikari has more AP than Nanami, and that he beats Dagon and Hanami. But one thing is for certain: he is not touching Jogo. He is not touching Mahito. In a realistic versus fight scenario, he's not beating Kashimo unless again he gets some real 1 in a million luck. Which even with his luck stipulations, we also have to take into account that not only is it not guaranteed, but explicitly giving opponents like these the ins and out of how your domain actually works. It's so much worse. But you feel free to debate me. I'm not going to take any of my words back unless I actually see any non-biased proof. If you don't watch the video, go back and watch it.